has it. I might take a break to talk about the new combat styles news that came out last night. The Escape podcast peoples, Max and Sema, got to interview Chris Smith, and he was talking about combat styles last night, and some new information came to light. So I might do that in a minute. I'll do that now. Do I want to tank? Maybe after I go through the combat style stuff, I'll PvP again. I'm just gonna take a short break from PvP if that's okay. Been PvPing for a couple of hours now. Let me just grab it up. Hang on. Let me find the link key to put up on the screen. Hang on. But yeah, in total 15 minutes I'll queue for PvP again. There we go. Let's put it up on the screen here. So this is Max and Sema's summary of what happened. If you want to listen to it, let me find the link so you can listen to the interview. They tweeted it today. Let me find it. They posted it on YouTube as well, I believe. Here's a link. I will post here to the interview if you want to listen to it yourself. Alright, let's read through this. So he went through at one point kind of what their reasoning was behind all these combat style changes, and so one of them, the key reasons, was just to get everything back to square one. So get everything, all the classes on the same footing, because they're all kind of all over the place at this point, just to reset them and to get everything evenly balanced. So that's why everything's getting completely reset. So I just want to bring all the classes down together at a baseline and rebalance them all at once. And then they set up the structure. So what they want to, the other benefit of doing this is having them all separated from the story, is that it'll make it easier for them to add new combat styles in the future, which is something that I speculated about last week on Twitter. So I guess that was their thinking as well. Maybe not in 7.0, but down the road we will get some new combat styles down the road, which would be really cool. So it'll also give them more flexibility and a clean up structure to add new and interesting things. So I think it's a pretty solid idea, really, to do all this. I'm actually quite happy that they're doing all this stuff. So right now, design direction right now is to have 2 permanent choices. This may change in the future, so you'll be able to have 2 combat styles per character, is my understanding. The first style is a permanent choice of content at character creation. The second style is a permanent choice after class story chapter 3. This then unlocks the ability for a second style selections for legacy from there forward, starting at level 1. This helps them fit within developer limits, but there might be more. So at this stage we're starting with 2, but they might add more. So that will be cool per character. This will also help keep all characters interesting and valuable, because if we could just play all the roles on the one character, we don't need to swap to our alts. So they want to be able to give us flexibility on our characters, but also give us but they also don't want to make our alts useless. So we're still going to have some limitations. So part 2, utilities as they exist today are gone. So we're no longer going to have utilities. What Chris said in the interview was that some of the utilities are going to get incorporated into abilities. So that's something, so we're not going to technically lose all of our utilities, just some of them probably. So style choices within the spec are in a tree similar to utilities. So the way combat styles is set up, we kind of seen it on the PTS where every few levels we'll pick an ability. I think they're going to kind of have it set out like that when we actually get to see it proper in a UI. So yeah, so it's going to probably look like some kind of tree like we've had in the past. Everyone remembers, I don't know if anyone still remembers, it's been a long time, we used to have the skill trees. So it sounds like they might be going back to something like that. So there will always be a default choice selected. Okay. Tech vs Force. Time and technical constraint limiting ability to cross. So some players have asked why a Jedi can't hold a blaster, for example. I guess they want to be like Kanan Jarrus or Ezra Bridger and be able to use a blaster on a Jedi. But for now, it's more time and technical constraints that prevent them from doing that. But it is something they want to do look at doing down the road. So at the moment, hang on, let me get my graphic. I have a cool graphic that will demonstrate this. Oops. That's the wrong screen for that. Where did I put it? Combat styles photo. Is that the photo one? Here it is. Here it is. So at the moment, what's going to happen? This is what it's going to be like at 7.0. Is you have your base classes here, and then you choose a tech style. Or if you're a force class, you can choose a force style. So at the moment, we're limited. So you can choose any tech class or force class like that. So at some point they want to make it down the road so that we can actually, a Jedi if they really want to, can have a blaster. So that's something that's going to happen eventually. Let me just put that aside for now. Let's go back up. What was that? Operative changes have been noticed in the new patch. Oh, so full on changes to operative, you're saying? Okay, that sounds interesting. So light versus dark. This is more of a story limited to smooth new player experiences. There's a little bit of canon experience they are trying to be true to for the newest of players. One Dark Side 5 is Legacy unlocked, so cross-faction choices are available across Legacy at all times. So basically, once you have that Dark Side 5 Legacy unlock... Hang on, let me turn the music down just a little bit. I think I have it a bit too loud. Okay. So once you have the Dark Side 5 Legacy unlock, you will then be able to switch combat styles or force combat styles whenever you want to. So let me bring this up so I can try and demonstrate. I haven't updated this graphic yet. So basically, if you come in 7.0, you've been playing the game a long time. You have both alignments unlocked in your Legacy. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. You will be able to, at launch, you will be able to pick any of 8 of these. You will not be limited based on your faction's standard alignment. So if you're a Sentinel, you at launch as 7.0, you will straight away be able to pick Marauder or any of these. You can be able to switch to any of these combat styles. You will not be limited in any way. In fact, you won't notice any limitations whatsoever if you're an existing player and you have all the unlocks. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So in Legacy, if you go to Other, you have these alignment unlocks. So you've probably, if you've been playing the game as long as I have, you probably have these already. And have had them for a long time. Oh, hey Master Lee, thank you. I appreciate that. Yep, so you probably already have these unlocked. So if you do, you will not have any limitations in terms of being able to pick your combat style when 7.0 launches. So again, which kind of shocked me because when I first listened to the interview, I was not expecting that. Expecting it to be them to be that generous or that lenient when it came to combat style choice for force classes, but they are. So at launch, if you have those alignment unlocks in Legacy, you will be able to pick from any 8 of these. You will not be restricted like a new player will be restricted. So this is what it will look like for a new player coming into the game. They will be restricted based on their faction's traditional alignment, which is what they call it. So that's a big deal. I'll have to update this chart. I'll have to add stuff to that to make that clear to people, which I will do at some point. So let's go back to what we were looking at this. Here we go. Let's look at this. So next one was loadouts. So keybinds will be included. So this means that we'll be able to keybind switching between different loadouts, which should be really handy, I think. Outfit choice with outfit tab you select will be included. Okay. Equipment was mentioned but not clarified. Yeah, so loadouts are supposed to include our equipment and outfits apparently. So we're still a bit iffy on exactly how that will work, but that's supposed to be how it'll work. At this stage, we won't be able to change our combat styles in combat. Can't change it in a phase, except maybe between arena rounds. So if you're in a raid, you can't change your combat style. If you're in a flashpoint, you won't be able to change your combat style. So if you're in any phase, you won't be able to change your combat style. If you're just out in the open world and you're in combat, you won't be able to change your loadout. Okay, the respec options are still being worked out. They're likely to not cost to switch, and there likely won't be a timer to switch. So there's still more details to come, but they're still figuring some stuff out, obviously. So level 80 gear, we did from the interview glean some information about how gearing might work. It sounds like they are once again going to be reworking gear. So at level 80, the current set bonuses that we have now at level 75 are not going to work at level 80. So there will be several gear tiers starting at level 80 with a year-long dev view for tiers that they are designing for. Okay, so it's going to be like we've had in previous updates where we've started out with maybe around three tiers of gear, and then they're going to release updates and add more tiers of gear. So what we've had in previous updates. So we're going to go back to that. And this will mean that some tacticals, this obviously means since set bonuses that we have now aren't going to work, not all tacticals that we have will work either, but some of them will continue to work, sort of more cosmetic, I guess. But some of the current tacticals that we have now are being reworked into combat styles, so we're not going to completely lose all of the current tacticals. So yeah, that's mentioned in the final point there. So hints on news to come. There will be more interesting aspects about how gearing will work at 80. So it sounds like they're going to be reworking how gearing will work, which I'm looking forward to hearing about, in all honesty, because wow, this was a major improvement on the Coffee Kotet chapters. This was definitely 6.0 was an improvement, but not perfect, in my opinion, in terms of gearing. So I hope they streamline it. I would like to see them streamline it and make separate PvE and PvP gear. I really want PvPers to have their own gearing tracks separate from PvE, because I'm sick to death of having to do PvE content to get gear. Because it was in 6.0, PvE was by far the fastest way to gear up when we had to all gear up to 306. So I really want to see a separation of PvE and PvP gear. I'm hoping they go down that road. We will see what happens. That's just my personal wish. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. I really wish it will, but I don't know. But I'd really like to PvP, earn a currency, and spend that currency on gear. That's what I'd like to do. It's nice and simple. It's how it was in 4.0. 4.0 was fantastic for PvP gear, for gearing and PvP in general, but that is another subject, I guess. So yeah, Eternal Commander gear. Oh yeah, 5.0, that was the absolute worst. That was a horrible gearing system. Yeah, and Guild Wars 2 don't have that problem. Yeah. So abilities will likely be changing more than currently expected. Think of in terms of how tacticals can change the way rotations work. So I guess Chris was kind of hinting that our classes are going to change a lot more than we've seen so far. Remember what we've seen on the PTS so far with Sentinels and Guardians is just and it feels like just an experiment really. It's not really indicative of what the final product's going to look like, so definitely expect things to change. It sounds like maybe with this upcoming round of PTS with operatives and operatives and gunslingers, snipers. My mind blinked out for a second. With operatives and snipers, it sounds like they might be starting to incorporate some of the changes that Chris was alluding to in the interview. So we'll see what happens with that. I only got to tier 3 gear and I was sitting in jug. Yeah. So alright, so that's about everything. Make sure you do give it a listen. I would recommend giving the interview itself a listen if you haven't already. Let me link it again. Let me go back. It is also on YouTube. Let me go on. Take me. Whoops. Bloody hell, everything always has to bloody play when you open it up. Let me link the YouTube video this time. So that's the YouTube, if you want to watch it on YouTube. And on their website, wherever that is. I can't find it. I thought I had it up, but I got rid of it, I guess. I did just get rid of it. Hang on, I've got the link here. So, there we go. 2 different links to look at. You can just listen to it on on the Escape Podcast website, or you can watch it on their YouTube. So thanks to Max and Sema for doing a great interview with Chris. It was really good to listen to. I would recommend listening to it if you have the inclination to. Chris is a really interesting dude, so definitely recommend listening to him any chance he talks. Alrighty, now I might